Tonight, one-on-one with Vice President Harris as both candidates storm battleground Michigan. Harris escalating her attacks on her opponent as she faces mounting questions on the widening gender gap. Former President Trump firing back and for the first time acknowledging his own weakness when it comes to female voters. Both hoping their blitz through Michigan will be the much-needed push to win over the blue wall state, and the latest polling on which way key demographic groups are leaning. Also tonight, is the death of the leader of Hamas a turning point in the war in Gaza? The new drone video showing the moment Israeli tanks struck Yahya Sinwar, not knowing they took out their #1 target. President Biden saying his death is an opportunity to end the war as Hamas signals it's far from over. The renewed concerns for the hostages as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues to spiral. A former Olympic snowboarder on the run, wanted for running a massive drug trafficking operation and murder. The fugitive, one of more than a dozen indicted in the alleged criminal enterprise. Dramatic video as a music executive tied to the case is arrested at his Miami mansion, and the mountains of cocaine, cash, and firearms seized by authorities. Island-wide power outage, a major power grid meltdown, plunging Cuba into darkness, paralyzing the entire island. Schools shut down, traffic lights are out, and all non-essential workers told to stay home. The government declaring an energy emergency, our team on the ground in Havana. Voyeur at sea, disturbing allegations against Royal Caribbean after hidden cameras were discovered in the bathrooms of passengers. The employee hiding under guest beds. The lawsuit the cruise line now faces. And an incredible story of survival. A teen kayaker stranded at sea, clinging onto his kayak for 12 hours after he got separated from his high school paddling team. The dramatic video as the Coast Guard spots him drifting in the ocean. Plus, the urgent search underway after an American was reportedly kidnapped in the Philippines. Top story starts right now. And good evening. Happy Friday night to you. Tonight, it is all eyes on Michigan as both presidential candidates court voters in the battleground state with just 18 days to go until the election. Tonight, NBC is going one-on-one with Vice President Harris. Our Peter Alexander questioning Harris about some of the biggest obstacles facing her campaign, including the gender gap and distancing herself from President Biden. What she said tonight about that question. Both Harris and former President Trump hosting dueling events in the blue wall state, even campaigning in the same county just hours apart. A new Wall Street Journal poll shows an incredibly tight race in Michigan, Harris leading Trump by 2 points within the margin of error. Harris and Trump devoting a lot of time to Michigan, a key state which will help decide this election. Tonight, former President Trump is holding a rally in Detroit, a city he criticized just a week ago while he was speaking there. Take a listen.
Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
We'll have to see what he says tonight. Detroit is the first city in Michigan to kick off early voting tomorrow. We spoke with Republican voters in the state about if they will vote early and what they think about the process. Here's what they had to say.
And why did you choose to vote early this time around?
Because we wanted to make it too big to rig. We wanted to vote early and make sure our vote was banked and make sure that we could turn out more votes for Donald J. Trump.
I just don't trust the votes coming in early.
I'm going to vote in person on Election Day.
Why are you going to?
Because I don't trust the system.
Okay, we're following the latest developments on the state of the race. NBC White House correspondent Peter Alexander starts off our coverage tonight.
We spoke to Vice President Harris moments after her Grand Rapids rally here in battleground Michigan, where she sharpened her criticism of former President Trump.
He who has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States of America.
At the convention, you cast yourself as a joyful warrior, but in recent rallies, you've increasingly attacked former President Trump as an unstable and unhinged. Is that an effective closing? Is that an effective closing argument?
I think that one is not to the exclusion of the other. I have a great deal of optimism, as do the people who are here, about the future of our country. That is not in conflict with also being clear-eyed about the danger that Donald Trump poses based on the language that he has used and his admiration for dictators, his inability to really focus on the needs of the American people, in particular working people. These things are not in conflict. They all exist at the same time.
The critics who say the joy is gone, you respond.
oh, I'm having a great time.
And we pressed her about the widening gender gap. The latest NBC News poll shows Harris leads Trump among women by 14 points. But Trump has a 16-point advantage with men. Just today, the Harris campaign expanding its advertising on websites that draw largely male audiences, like the sports betting site DraftKings. The vice president downplaying the divide.
Why do you think there is a disconnect for you with men right now?
Well, let me tell you, you can look at this audience and you can see that there are people of every background and gender who are showing up by the thousands. And I think it is because they know I intend to be a president for all Americans. And that is how I'm campaigning to earn the vote of every American, not only about their gender, but about their geographic location and unburdened by who they may have voted for in the past.
Just to be clear, though, men still say by a 16% margin they're supporting Donald Trump right now. Why do you think that is?
It's not the experience that I'm having, to be honest with you.
Harris has been reluctant to distance herself from President Biden, today casting it as a matter of loyalty.
President Biden said this week that every president has to cut their own path. What is one policy that you would have done differently over these last 3.5 years than President Biden?
I mean, to be very candid with you, even including Mike Pence, vice presidents are not critical of their presidents. I think that really actually, in terms of the tradition of it and also just going forward, it does not make for a productive and important relationship.
He's now given you that green light with his comments that you can carve your own path. So now that you have this ability to say that to be on your own?
Well, no, going forward, there is no question that I bring my own experiences and my own life experiences.
Is there a policy that stands out to you in particular, either?
Sure. I mean, my approach to what we need to do around Medicare covering home health care, born out of my experience of taking care of my mother. My priority on housing, one, because I know what it means, affordable housing and the ability to buy a home, but also I know that for so many young people who I speak with around our country, the American dream is just really out of reach. So my policy about $25,000 down payment assistance to help them get their foot in the door. The work that I have been doing and will bring to the presidency around emphasizing small businesses as being part of the real backbone of America's economy.
Peter Alexander joins us tonight from Grand Rapids. Peter, we saw there in your report you pressing her, trying to understand how she's going to distance herself from President Biden, something she said in the Fox News interview. Did you get a sense of what she meant by that?
It's a good question, Tom, and I think she tries to explain it as best she can, indicating that this is really an issue of a tradition where vice presidents don't criticize the president who they're serving right now. But it's notable because just a matter of days ago, Joe Biden came out and publicly said that, each president gets to set out their own course, effectively giving her a green light to differentiate herself with him as necessary. I tried to give her the opportunity on multiple occasions there to say if there was any policy difference, anything policy-wise over the course of the last 3.5 years where she would have done something different from him. And again, she declined to do that and said, instead indicating some of the policy positions she may focus on going forward. It is a challenge for the campaign, certainly, though, right now, Tom, because the Biden-Harris administration, which is in power right now, in office right now, recognizes that the numbers show that the vast majority of Americans believe that the country at this time is headed in the wrong direction, Tom.
Okay, Peter Alexander, one-on-one with the vice president. Peter, we thank you for that. For more on the Harris campaign's push on the ground in Michigan, I want to bring in someone who knows Michigan voters well. Democratic Congresswoman Haley Stevens. She represents the state's 11th district, including areas north of Detroit, in Oakland County. She's also a surrogate for the Harris-Walz campaign and joins us now from the event. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for being here. I kind of want to start where Peter left off there. Why do you think Vice President Harris told Fox News she's going to be a different president, she's going to have a different administration than Joe Biden, but then couldn't draw the difference when Peter asked her the same question?
Well, let me tell you, I'm here in Waterford, Michigan right now with a packed audience. This is a community I flipped when I first ran for Congress, and this is a community that's going to vote for the 47th president of the United States, and that is Kamala Harris. I firmly believe that she is an incredible leader and a strong leader. She did a great job as our vice president to Joe Biden, who's delivered over and over again for Michigan. She certainly shares the special relationship that he does with our state, and she's going to carry forward on the manufacturing economy, but also who she is. She gets to be her own unique president and say that. And she's so grateful for the opportunity to have served, not only as vice president, but as a U.S. senator, standing up for women's rights and standing up for what Michiganders care about, which is our middle class. She's about to come in here and she's going to show us exactly what she's going to do, and that's win.
But Congresswoman, you know elections are about change, right? It's how you won your election. So what do you tell voters? How is she different from Joe Biden? What is the change factor there?
Well, Joe Biden's not on the ballot, but a twice impeached, multiple times convicted felon is, and someone who wants to take our country backwards, someone who's still litigating battles of the past, saying that he's going to jail his political opponents, wreaking havoc, putting fear into the hearts of voters. I can't tell you in Michigan how palpable this is, how people feel that democracy is on the lines. So look, I understand you want to litigate and go into every little story and talking point that's being written, but right now it is Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Everything is on the line, and we are going to stand up alongside unions, alongside educators, alongside hardworking families, and elect this incredible woman as our president. Yeah. It's happening for Michigan.
I'm not litigating. There's no talking points here. It was a simple question, but it's okay. Let's move on. I want to talk big picture for Democrats in the state of Michigan, which you know well. Michigan was a solid Obama state, right? But then Trump was able to flip that state in 2016 with a very close victory. And then Biden's win here in 2020, it was also pretty close, right? A little bit better than Trump did in 2016, though. So with the latest Wall Street Journal poll well within the margin of error, how do you prevent another Trump win here? What do you hope happens as far as voter turnouts in different pockets of the state?
I'll give you this. There's a lot of passion around this election. There's a lot of very organized Democrats, people in communities like the one that I'm standing in right now, Waterford, that has an organized Democratic operation, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, which used to be red communities that have now been going blue. And our Democrats haven't been putting their feet up for the last couple of years. They've been organizing in the off years. They've been obviously organized as we've headed into this election. And people aren't taking anything for granted. It's a lot of work. We're exhausted with 3 presidential elections of Donald Trump on the top of the ticket, but we're not going back. We're going to get out every vote. I was with a group of union women, and they were going into neighborhoods in ways that we have never seen in downtown Detroit. We've got 40% of absentee ballots returned in Detroit right now, the highest in the state. People are racing to cast their votes for Kamala Harris. So we're digging deep. We know the other side is working, but there's one thing to do, and that's come out on the other side of this victorious.
Congresswoman, before you go, you represent also Oakland County, and in Oakland County from 2016 to 2020, President Biden is able to run up the score by about 100,000 votes. I mean, really did much better than any of those other counties around Detroit there. How do you make sure that you can deliver that for Kamala Harris in 2 weeks?
Well, we've certainly got to make sure that people know that Kamala Harris is going to deliver for our economy. Oakland County is the heart of Automation Alley, a rich supply chain of automotive companies, not just the original equipment manufacturers, but the suppliers, small businesses who are selling all over the country, all over the world. They need to be able to be competitive. And when J.D. Vance comes to Oakland County and says that investments that we've made in clean energy and innovations of the future are table scraps, and he would cancel it, that's not only canceling automotive jobs, that's canceling building trades jobs. Kamala Harris is going to give us the consistency and the clarity of leadership we deserve. That's all people want, is they want certainty, particularly here in automotive land in Michigan. She's doing that, and that's going to make all the difference in Oakland County. She will win by over 100,000 votes.
Congresswoman Haley Stevens, we thank you for joining Top Story tonight. All right, former President Trump also campaigning in Michigan today, highlighting the state's critical role in this election. Garrett Hake is covering the Trump campaign. He's got this report tonight.
Tonight, the all-out battle for critical Michigan, drawing both candidates to the Great Lakes state. Vice President Harris questioning former President Trump's fitness for the job.
Now, He is ducking debates and canceling interviews. If you are exhausted on the campaign trail, it raises real questions about whether you are fit for the toughest job in the world.
Trump firing back, saying Harris wasn't there in person for last night's Al Smith Catholic charity event, a traditional campaign stop like he was. She held a rally instead.
What event did I cancel? I haven't canceled. She didn't even show up for the Catholics last night at the hotel. It was insulting. I've gone 48 days now without arrest, and I've got that loser who doesn't have the energy of a rabbit.
While Trump earlier acknowledging his opposition to federal abortion rights is hurting him with women voters.
You have one issue. You have the issue of abortion. Without abortion, the women love me.
Falsely claiming most support the repeal of Roe v. Wade.
I've taken this issue out of the federal government and put it back to the states where they're voting.
Meanwhile, both campaigns continue to battle for black men, a critical voting bloc here. Polls show the vast majority back Harris, but former President Obama has warned she's not getting enough support. Ramon Jackson voted for Obama. Now he backs Trump.
I like the tariffs that he said on moving products or moving production to different countries. That create jobs.
Reverend Horace Sheffield III is supporting Harris.
Having a candidate like this with her credentials and everything she's done has just made me even more enthusiastic.
Okay, Garrett Hickey joins us tonight from the campaign trail. So, Garrett, an interesting stat. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, they've all voted together going back to 1988, right? Are you noticing any trends there as you travel those three states? They're obviously very individual, very unique, and the dynamics are different, but they're unified usually when they vote, at least recently. Are you seeing any trends as you're traveling the campaign trail?
What I notice, I think I notice it most in Michigan, but I see sort of echoes in it in all three states, is at least part of the Trump strategy is working. I do think they are having some impact, winning over more minority voters, Latino voters, black male voters. That's working. But they are bleeding in the suburbs, and that's going to be the thing that I just don't think we're really going to know until Election Day. How many of these suburban women really do bail on Donald Trump? That's why you see him in Oakland County today. That's why Kamala Harris was there. There is definitely a realignment happening. And I don't know how big or how small it's going to be, but I very much get the feeling of that trade-off happening. You know, sort of every one or two blue-collar voters of color who sort of drift towards Trump. There's a white suburban woman who says, enough. And I don't know who's going to win on the math on that when all the votes are counted, but I see it in all three states.
Great observation, Garrett. We thank you for that. Stay safe out there on the campaign trail. For more on the Trump campaign's race to Election Day, Republican strategist Matt Gorman joins us tonight from Washington. Matt, great to see you as always. So I want to start with former President Trump here, right? Is the gas running low in the tank? He was Mr. Energy. He was a million interviews, and now there was some reporting out of Politico, but the Trump campaign denied it, that he canceled interviews because he was, quote, exhausted. Is he getting exhausted? Is he tired? And a reminder, that's exactly what you guys were criticizing President Biden about.
I think more than anything else, what you're seeing is the Trump campaign realizing momentum's going their way and being a little bit more conservative and putting him out so that way they're holding the lead, so to speak. And I think that's more than anything else.
So our viewers can maybe cut through the spin. Give me some empirical data why you think momentum's going your way.
I think when you see the trends linking and shrinking in some of the states, and also, for example, Tammy Baldwin and Bob Casey now putting Trump in their ads, talking about working positively with him, both in the future and what they've done in the past, when they're running very competitive Senate races in those blue wall states you mentioned as Democrats, tells me that not just we're seeing it, but the other side's seeing it as well. And look, for months, the Harris campaign had a strategy. They were going to try and hold that lead, too. And this media blitz, kind of the trolling around the health, tells me they see something in the numbers, too, that they needed to act upon.
You know, you're seeing some record numbers in states like Georgia, North Carolina, when it comes to early voting. And again, North Carolina had issues with Hurricane Helene as well. I wonder if Republicans are at all concerned about that because, you know, the conventional wisdom usually is those early votes don't help out Republicans.
I think you've seen a couple different things, right? You certainly seen the Republicans talk about banking their vote, as you saw in the package there, and really making sure that people vote early. So it's hard to say that nowadays but also those African-American men, Latino men, some of the minorities that we're targeting, they're what we call low propensity voters. What that really means is they don't vote at every single election, say local elections. They might vote once every 4 years or twice every 4 years. So the fact that we're seeing higher turnout tells me we're sweeping some of those voters in there as well. So if we're targeting them, that's good news for us.
Matt, I do want to ask you, we have some new NBC News reporting about Nikki Haley. Two sources familiar with the planning confirmed that the former primary challenger is in talks to join former President Trump on the campaign trail. Talk to us about, will this have any effect on the race?
I think it could, depending on where she goes, right? You talk about the gender gap is so huge. If Trump can cut down those numbers, that 14-point deficit among women to say 12, that has outsized impact in a lot of different states. So Nikki Haley can certainly be helpful with that. And I think it's also very notable that Trump has really adopted a lot of Nikki Haley's answers on, say, abortion. In that debate against Kamala Harris, if you would close your eyes, his answer on abortion was very similar to the answer on abortion that Nikki Haley gave in one of the primary debates that you guys hosted here back last November. So messaging is important, but I think that could really be helpful with women voters.
Matt Gorman for us tonight. Matt, always a pleasure to talk to you on Top Story. We do want to head overseas now to the conflict in the Middle East, one day after the confirmation of the death of Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader and architect of the October 7th attacks in Israel. Many world leaders now hoping this could mark a potential turning point in the war. But Hamas saying not so fast, that it will not return any hostages in Gaza before Israel withdraws from the region. Aaron McLaughlin tonight in Tel Aviv with this update.
Tonight, new details about the Israeli operation that killed the mastermind of the October 7th terror attack. The Israeli military released this footage, claiming to show the moment a tank opened fire, ending the life of Yahya Sinwar. The culmination of an hours-long battle on Wednesday, in which the IDF says grenades were thrown from Sinwar's direction at Israeli soldiers. One soldier was seriously wounded, and concluded with the leader of Hamas cornered, wounded, and alone. President Biden in Germany today hoping the moment marks a turning point.
Do you think there's a road to peace there? It's going to be harder? It's going to be difficult?
Hamas has yet to name a successor. Israeli terrorism and intelligence expert Yoram Schweitzer believes Sinwar's brother Mohammed, seen in this video released by the Israeli military, will carry on with his brutality.
Unless we find his brother and kill him too, I think we will encounter the same policy.
So you don't think this is going to change Hamas's course?
Not in Gaza, not immediately. Hopefully he won't take revenge from the hostages, but we'll have to see.
Is that a concern that he could?
It's a concern.
Tonight, there's also concern for 400,000 Palestinians trapped in northern Gaza. This week, the U.S. gave Israel 30 days to improve the humanitarian situation. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations warning that a policy of starvation would not be acceptable. Secretary Blinken arrives in the region next week. He hopes to convince the Israeli prime minister to stop the war in Gaza and begin serious considerations about what comes next. Tom.
Okay, Aaron, thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, the ex-Olympian turned drug lord. The FBI is searching for a man accused of running a drug trafficking ring and orchestrating several murders. His alleged co-conspirators, including a music executive, arrested at his Miami mansion. Plus, an American reportedly kidnapped in the Philippines. The alarming reports of a Vermont man shot and then taken away in a speedboat. What we're learning. And former Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler arrested. The charges he's facing. Stay with us. Welcome back. There is a murder trial underway today in Delphi, Indiana, for the man accused of brutally killing two teenage girls 7 years ago. The jury hearing emotional testimony from a family member about the day the missing girls were found. Maggie Vespa is there for us tonight.
In Delphi, Indiana, a high-profile double murder trial is underway over the 2017 stabbing deaths of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German, best friends who were in volleyball and band together. Prosecutors in today's opening statement saying 52-year-old Richard Allen used power and fear to kill the teens. The state arguing witnesses spotted the local husband and father on a walking trail. Investigators saying Libby recorded this encounter with a man that day. Prosecutors allege it was Allen who forced the girls down a hill at gunpoint, stabbed them, and left Libby completely naked, covered in blood, her throat slit. Allens pleaded not guilty, his attorneys saying he's innocent and refuting prosecutors' claims that a bullet found at the scene matches his pistol, arguing tests were inconclusive. The girls' families arriving to court this morning, with Libby's grandmother tearfully testifying about the day the missing girls were found, saying, "I saw the coroner's truck driving by, and that's when I knew they weren't alive."
Maggie, this case is obviously so high profile in Delphi, in that tiny town. It sounds like it's been really chaotic there. Walk our viewers through what's been happening.
Yeah, Tom, it's been overwhelming for this town. Keep in mind, this is a community of less than 3,000 people. In this case, this nationally high-profile case has been hanging over them for the better part of a decade. I want to bring back that video that we showed at the top. There it is, the top of the piece. Look at that line outside the courthouse. There were several dozen, easily close to 100 people when we got here bright and early this morning before dawn. They just wanted seats inside the courtroom. They wanted to see the beginning of this trial, the culmination of nearly a decade of mystery. And it's just really kind of permeating throughout the community. And because of that, Tom, the judge has been really working hard, working overtime to keep a tight lid on this case. She's brought in a jury from about 100 miles away. They're sequestered. They can't have any outside contact, watch any media coverage, and they have a long road ahead. This is about a month-long trial with a combined 170 witnesses expected. So just getting underway.
Okay, Maggie Vespa first. Maggie, we thank you for that. Now to that urgent manhunt I was telling you about earlier, a former Olympian turned alleged drug lord. Authorities say he and another man ran a sprawling drug smuggling network across 4 countries that had help from one of Mexico's most notorious cartels. More than a dozen people indicted, including a music executive, taken down in dramatic fashion just outside Miami. NBC's Guad Venegas has the story.
A raid in an exclusive South Florida neighborhood, where authorities arrested music executive Naim Jorge Bonilla. Bonilla, allegedly just one member of a wide-ranging drug trafficking ring that prosecutors say became one of the largest suppliers of cocaine into the United States and Canada, and was led by Ryan James Wedding, a former Canadian Olympic snowboarder turned alleged drug lord and now fugitive.
This group was ruthless and violent. They would use contract killers to assassinate anyone who they saw as an obstacle to their operation.
Wedding and his alleged accomplice Andrew Clark accused of a, quote, avalanche of violent crime, even ordering murders to settle drug debts, including a couple in Canada who prosecutors say was shot in front of their daughter.
All of these victims were intentionally shot execution style, so that their loved ones could see them murdered.
The details shared in the indictment reminiscent of those seen with Mexican cartels, who federal officials say even provided protection for Wedding's operations.
This organization was connected to cartels, specifically the Sinaloa cartel, which offered them protection in Mexico to carry out their operations.
Those operations, prosecutors say, sending drugs from Colombia through Mexico through a main transportation hub in Los Angeles, and from there to the East Coast and to Canada. Authorities have seized more than a ton of cocaine, 3 firearms, and dozens of rounds of ammunition, and at least $3 million in cash and cryptocurrency. Clark, known by many as the Dictator, was arrested by Mexican authorities earlier this month. Attorneys for Clark could not immediately be reached for comment, and Bonilla's lawyer telling NBC News they are not commenting at this time. Meanwhile, Wedding, whose aliases include El Jefe and Public Enemy, still on the run and considered armed and dangerous by the FBI.
Guad Venegas joins us tonight from L.A. So, Guad, have authorities made any progress in tracking this former Olympian down?
Tom, we don't know that. We know that there is a reward, $50,000 for any information that could lead to his arrest. Now, it's interesting that they said that they were working with the Sinaloa cartel. We know that his accomplice, Clark, was arrested in Mexico. They said that Mexican authorities assisted with that arrest. And they also say they believe Wedding was living in Mexico with the man who they say was his second in command while they controlled all of this operation. So it would make sense to think that part of this investigation or the search for him would be taking place in Mexico as well as the U.S., Tom.
All right, Guad Venegas first. Guad, a wild story. We thank you for that. When we come back, crisis in Cuba after a major power grid failure. The island-wide blackout leaving 10 million people without electricity. Our reporter on the ground in Havana with where the dire situation stands. Okay, we are back now with Top Stories news feed, and we start with an update on the police beating of a black man who was deaf and had cerebral palsy in Arizona. Maricopa County's top prosecutor has dropped all charges against 34-year-old Tyron McAlpin. Graphic video we first showed you earlier this week shows officers hitting him and using a taser after he did not hear their commands. He was originally charged with resisting arrest. An American man has reportedly been kidnapped in the Philippines. The man has been identified as 26-year-old Elliot Eastman from Vermont. Philippine police say they are investigating reports Eastman was shot in the leg before being dragged into a speedboat that fled south. The State Department is monitoring the situation. Former Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler was arrested on DUI and gun charges. Police took Cutler into custody after a minor car crash in Franklin, Tennessee. According to an arrest affidavit, he allegedly smelled of alcohol and was slurring his words. Authorities say a rifle and a loaded handgun were found in the car. Cutler was released on $5,000 bail. We tried reaching the representative for comment, but have not heard back from anyone on his team. And Royal Caribbean sued by some of its former passengers after hidden cameras were placed in their rooms. According to the suit, a former employee put cameras in guest bathrooms, and he also hid under the bed and recorded guests with his cell phone. The passengers now alleging the cruise line could have done more to protect guests' privacy. Arvind Mirasol, who you just saw there, the employee, was fired by the company and is currently serving 30 years in federal prison. Okay, now to the Americas and the ongoing energy emergency in Cuba. The country's power grid completely failing, plunging Cuba into darkness and impacting its more than 10 million residents. The country still waiting for the electrical grid to be restored as the situation becomes more and more dire for the Cuban people. I want to get right over to Ed Augustin, who's on the ground for us in Havana tonight with the latest on how extensive the outage is and how it's affecting the residents.
This massive energy crisis that Cubans have gotten used to affects people massively. I mean, just think the reality of living without electricity. You go to your fridge, it's warm. The food's going to go off more quickly because there's no electricity to keep it cold. You want to sleep, it's the Caribbean, it's hot. You can't put the fan on to keep the mosquitoes at bay. And if you've got air conditioning, well, that doesn't work because there's no electricity. The list just goes on and on and on, and it wears people down. And these power cuts, they're not short, right? This has been going on for not only months, years. Here in the capital, we're fairly privileged. But where I live, like most people that live in the capital, I have to go without power 2 or 3 times a week for 4 hours at a time. In the provinces, it's far, far worse. So things are already difficult, but last night at 11 o'clock, the Prime Minister announced things were going to get even more difficult because the country can't now afford enough petrol. So schools are closed, lots of workplaces are closed. The economy, as the Prime Minister himself described, for the rest of the week will be paralysed. And today, just straight out of the blue, the main power plant that the country relies on to get the electricity that's still there to the nation, in the context of these new emergency measures, conked out. It broke down, and right now, as far as we know, the majority of the country is still without electricity, although the state is reporting that some parts of the country are gradually getting electricity back. So people are just at their wits' end. People think, I can't do this anymore. I mean, how long is this going to go on for? And they see a government that's not coming up with the goods. It's talking about solutions, but right now people are living it in blackouts. In terms of why this is happening, the analysts I speak to give me 2 reasons. First, US sanctions. Now, I know for many people that's a cliche. The government often uses it as an excuse, but they are real, and they've never been stronger. The Trump administration enacted what they described as maximum pressure sanctions, and the aim of those sanctions was to increase sanctions on what they describe as the regime. They make it more difficult for the country to buy petroleum in the international market. Oil tankers were sanctioned by the Trump administration, and the economists I speak to, independent economists, say that even to this day, those measures that the Biden administration has decided to keep in place cost the Cuban state billions of dollars. Now, that's less money, it could be argued, for police and the repressive apparatus of state, but it's also less money to buy petrol and repair decrepit power plants. The other massive reason, of course, is the Cuban economy. Pretty much everyone in this island is cognizant, including the Cuban government, that the economy doesn't work. And they've promised for a long time, years and decades, to reform it, to make it more productive. That has not happened. It's less productive today than it was certainly when I arrived in Cuba over a decade ago. And the result of that is the country hardly produces, it exports very little. It also has very little foreign currency inflows. And so for Cubans, it's a perfect storm between US economic warfare that's been ratcheted up on the one hand and a government that is unable to run an efficient economy. And Cubans are living with the result. Blackout. Back to you, Tom.
A big thanks to Ed Augusta and his team for figuring out a way to broadcast, even though there is no power right now on the island of Cuba. We will be thinking about all those people who are suffering in that country. Coming up, an incredible story of survival. A teenager stranded off the coast of Hawaii, clinging to his overturned kayak for 12 hours. The off-duty lifeguard who joined the massive search and ended up saving the teen's life. The moment he was pulled to safety. That's next. We're back now with an incredible story of survival. Rescue workers in Hawaii saving the life of a teen lost at sea. The hours-long search taking place in the dead of night. Maya Eaglin picks up the story.
Tonight, the harrowing moments a 17-year-old was rescued at sea after spending nearly 12 hours stranded off the coast of Honolulu. The chilling incident unfolding Wednesday evening when officials say strong currents separated Kahiau Kauai from his high school paddling group, causing his kayak to capsize in the waters with wind gusts close to 30 miles an hour. Emergency officials immediately launching a massive search.
In addition to our ground search, we also had 3 boats, 2 air assets, and our drone team. In addition to HFD, we had the United States Coast Guard with 1 fixed-wing aircraft, 1 helicopter, and 1 boat, and airport rescue and firefighting with 1 boat.
For more than 11 and a half hours, rescue teams refusing to give up, eventually spotting Kauai at around 4 o'clock the following morning, treading water, clinging onto his kayak. Off-duty lifeguard Nolan Kiolena pulling the teen to safety.
I think he was in total shock because he wasn't emotional at all. And I was actually crying my guts off because he was okay. And while I'm praying, he's like, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Kiolena joining the search efforts as a good Samaritan after receiving a text from his wife saying they knew the teen.
I got a text from, actually from my wife saying that it's one of our friend's kids. So I was like, oh, I gotta go. I'm the type of person that want to go and be at every call. And I know last night I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't go out there.
It was such a pleasure to be able to call his mom as she's crying on the phone and say, hey, we found him and he's okay.
Kauai then transported to the hospital, suffering from injuries, including hypothermia. The Coast Guard saying he was in serious but stable condition. The teen's family releasing a statement of gratitude, saying in part, quote, a very special mahalo to Good Samaritans, friends, and family, especially lifeguard and waterman Nolan Kiolena, who went out on his own to search for Kahiau all night, never giving up, using his instincts and knowledge of the ocean. A happy ending for a resilient teen and a community determined to save him. Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
We thank you for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.